What happened when you broke your parents' number one rule? My parents had one unbreakable rule that they treated like federal law. Absolutely no one could ever enter our house unless they were blood relatives or certified professionals with insurance paperwork. They'd been robbed once before I was born, and after that, they decided every non-family member was a potential thief or murderer waiting for access to our home. They installed 9 security cameras, 3 deadbolts on every door, and a system that sent alerts to their phones if anyone even stepped on our porch. When delivery drivers came, we had to meet them at the street because they couldn't touch our property. My parents would literally rather die than have a stranger in the house, and they said this constantly like it was something to be proud of. And so I was the kid who could never reciprocate anything. Friends would invite me over constantly, but I could never return the favor. So eventually they stopped asking and assumed I was ashamed of my house or secretly hated them. Group projects were a nightmare because we always had to meet at the library, even during blizzards when everyone else's parents were begging to host. My girlfriend of 6 months dumped me because she thought I was hiding something, when really my parents just threatened to change the locks if I ever brought her inside. Birthday parties, study groups, even just watching movies like normal teenagers did was completely impossible at my house. When my best friend's mom died, everyone in our friend group hosted him for dinners to help out except me. My parents said grief wasn't an exception to the rule. He never really forgave me for that, even though I tried to explain. Senior year, my parents started leaving me alone more often because they finally trusted I wouldn't break their sacred rule after 17 years of perfect obedience. They'd go to their marriage counseling every Thursday afternoon, which honestly they needed because their paranoia was destroying their relationship too. Those 2 hours became my only time to feel normal in my own house. I'd eat snacks in the living room instead of the kitchen, watch TV without headphones, and pretend other humans were allowed to exist in our space. My friend Leo knew about these Thursday windows and always joked that he should come over just to see what the forbidden house looked like inside. We both knew I'd never risk it though, because my parents had made it clear that breaking this rule meant losing everything. My college fund, my car, my phone, all of it would be gone. Last Thursday started normally, with my parents leaving at exactly 3 o'clock for counseling after checking all the cameras and reminding me they'd know if anyone came over. 20 minutes later, Leo showed up at my door with a bag of candy from the Korean market that we'd been talking about trying for weeks. I knew I should send him away, but I was so tired of being the friend who couldn't do anything normal, and my parents wouldn't be back for over an hour. I let him in, telling myself it would just be for 5 minutes. We sat in the kitchen eating these chewy candies that were harder than we expected, and I kept checking the clock paranoid that my parents would somehow know. Leo was doing impressions of our chemistry teacher, making me laugh so hard I forgot to be careful, and suddenly one of those candies shot straight back into my throat. I couldn't breathe or cough or even make noise. I stood up panicking, pointing at my throat, and Leo just stared at me for a second before realizing what was happening. He jumped up and started doing the Heimlich maneuver he'd learned when his mom made him take a babysitting course. It took 4 tries before the candy flew out, and I could finally breathe, collapsing on the floor gasping while Leo kept asking if I was okay. The irony wasn't lost on either of us that breaking the rule had almost killed me, but breaking the rule had also saved me. I knew I could have just as easily choked on something Leo hadn't brought into the house, but I also knew my parents would not see it that way. He stayed for 30 minutes, making sure I could breathe normally, getting me water, checking my throat was clear, both of us knowing my parents would lose their minds if they found out. Leo had just left, and I was hiding the Korean candy bag in the outdoor trash when my phone started buzzing frantically with texts from my mom. The first text just said, "Explain," in all caps, followed by a screenshot from our security app showing Leo's face clearly as he pushed through our front door. Another showed him with his arms around me from behind, which looked like an embrace if you didn't know it was the Heimlich. Another showed him rubbing my back as I drank water on the couch, looking intimate and comfortable in the forbidden space. My phone rang immediately, and I could see it was my mom, but I couldn't make my hand answer it. I genuinely didn't know if she'd care that I'd almost died, or if she'd just focus on the rule being broken. The phone kept ringing, and then I heard something worse. Car tires squealing into our driveway. My parents were home, and I was about to wish that the candy had killed me after all. Full story on the channel below.